Welcome to Coffee Talk. I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace, and welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And tonight is our Cultural Studies night. Tonight, we want to dive into the word resentment. Let's reflect. Have you ever helped or participated in someone's growth that they begin to resent you? Let's talk about it. This is Coffee Talk Podcast, Cultural Studies night, and I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is the Cultural Variety Podcast show. Thank you for coming. Peace. Blessings. How are y'all doing tonight? If this is your first time tuning into our show, we are a Cultural Variety Podcast show that appears 3 times a week. And on each end of the week, known as the weekends, alternative days, Sunday and Mondays, we have what we call a cultural studies night. And because our culture is so big and broad, we tend to talk about a lot of things that have to do with our people, such as our doctors, our lawyers, our scholars, our Black excellence, our poets, our authors, our people. So we love to give props and pay homage to our people on our cultural studies night. Wednesdays, we are a sports show. However, we don't care about who won or lost a game, but we like to talk about the different intricacies that goes on in the world of sports when it involves our people, melanated people, you know what I mean? And then on Friday, Saturday nights, that's our grown folks social hour, where we like to have fun discussions, let our hair down, let loose a little bit, play a game of 3-question Q&A, 5-question Q&A, 10-question Q&A, and we also like to bring you guests. So again, this is Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And we got a good show lined up tonight. If you are new here, we never start our show without giving you what we call the wise words, as well as the flavor. Now, wise words are just words of affirmation. They're words of encouragement. They are quotes that have been left for us by our ancestors that are living, our ancestors that have moved on into the essence but left this fruit for us to go over and be inspired and encouraged by it. So we got what we call wise words. And then also we love to give you the flavor. We encourage a healthy mind state as well as a healthy lifestyle. So we like to go ahead and just talk about different flavors that's out there. You know, flavor can also be an attitude. You know what I mean? But tonight's flavor is coconut water. But before I dive into the benefits of coconut water, what are you drinking on? Whether that's some wine, a smoothie, a latte, a beer, whatever you drinking on. But I'm happy that you're here at Coffee Talk Podcast. So go ahead and rest up, kick your feet up, and enjoy tonight's flavor. Tonight's flavor is the benefits of coconut water. That's right, the benefits of coconut water. You see, I have some here. Great coconut water. So let's go ahead and talk about those 3 benefits. The 3 benefits of coconut water is that it contains 94% water. That's right. It's very healthy for you. It's that good water versus, the water that's not so helpful. You know what I mean? And then also part of the benefits of the coconut water is that coconut water is a good source of magnesium. So that's also a healthy trait that you take on when you are consuming coconut water. And then the third benefit of coconut water is it helps reduce heart disease. You know what I mean? So if you're struggling in those areas, I would encourage you to go ahead and start thinking about different alternatives that you can consume, drink, or whatnot. But tonight's flavor is coconut water. What are you drinking on? Let me know. All right. So if you're just tuning in, go ahead and hit the inbox, or not the inbox, but the chat box. Let us know you're here, man. We'd love to give you a shout out. We'd love to give shout outs to those that support the show. We even give a shout out about your brand and so forth. We love our supporters and our followers of Coffee Talk Podcast. Y'all has been with us for a while, and we love having you on this journey here. So go ahead and make sure, if you stop by, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you tell a friend that Coffee Talk Podcast is on tonight. And also go ahead and make sure you subscribe so you do not miss a day of Coffee Talk Podcast, which appears 3 times a week. All right. Next up is our wise words. And again, our wise words are affirmations. They're words of encouragement. And they come from our people, our ancestors, living or passed on to the essence. You know what I'm talking about when I say that? All right. So tonight's wise words are from a gentleman who was born July 12, 1937, out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He has a lot of movies. Two of his movies, one of them was filmed in 1974 with the great Sidney Poitier. And this movie is entitled Uptown Saturday Night, 1974. He also had a movie called Let's Do It Again, which was out in 1978. This gentleman, this elder, helped pioneer African Americans into television. And one of his most successful shows was the show The Cosby Show, which ran from 1984 to 1992 on Thursday nights. A lot of your parents, a lot of our friends, a lot of people we couldn't wait for a Thursday night to watch Phylicia Rashad as well as Bill Cosby and their children. It was very refreshing. It was dynamic, that you could see a positive Black family in their upbringings of their children, sharing tradition, inspiring, and showing Black unity and love. So a lot of people really caught on to the Cosby Show. And again, it was one of the longest running TV shows in the history of television. Again, it ran from 1984 to 1992. So tonight's wise words comes from actor and comedian Bill Cosby. Thank you. Bill Cosby's wise words was this. He stated, "I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody." Let me say that again. Make sure that you're listening. You're learning, you're comprehending. Listen loudly. The wise words by Bill Cosby. He stated, "I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody." Those are the words of the great Bill Cosby, and that is our wise words tonight here on Cultural Studies with Coffee Talk Podcast. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into our show tonight. Tonight, and other nights throughout our Cultural Studies podcasts and events, I like to go ahead and just choose a word. I love words. I'm a linguistic person. I love to break down words, the definition of words, the meaning of words, how the words may empower, how the words trigger. I love to play around with words. And so tonight we chose a word called resentment. And the reason why we chose this word resentment is based on this. Have you ever helped someone because you cared about them or you loved them or you wanted to see them succeed? Whether that's in professional relationships, whether that's in personal relationships, but you wanted to help them. And by doing that, it brought on resentment. Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to show you how to identify the word resentment. We're going to reflect on it because I would love to hear your thoughts based on how you felt during that time period. And that will be our breakdown tonight. So tonight we are going to go ahead and discuss the word resentment and how that can develop or come into play when you are assisting someone, when you are helping someone, when you are adding to a group, or when you are just trying to level everyone up, including yourself, whatever that may be, whether professionally or personally. How does resentment come about? Let's go ahead and discuss that. Now, this breakdown here, or this definition, is actually off of Google AI. It's just going to give us a breakdown of the words. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the meaning of the word resentment. And off that, we'll start to reflect and talk about the word more in depth. So let's begin. Resentment. Resentment from someone you helped often stems from a power imbalance where the recipient feels shame, inadequacy, or a loss of autonomy, leading them to devalue the gift or the giver to regain a sense of equality. This often called a self-other mismatch or gift receiver divide can also be triggered if the assistance is perceived as controlling or comes with strings attached. Key reasons for this is involuntary debt. Involuntary debt is the recipient may feel they are now in a psychological debt, and so this causes discomfort. Perceived condensation. The help might make the receiver feel incompetent or that their privacy was invaded. And how about unmet expectations? If the helper expects gratitude or praise and the receiver feels the help was unwanted, it can create a cycle of resentment. So let's go ahead and dive into that and talk about it a little bit. And when I was thinking about it in the terms of men, when they love someone or care about someone or care about participating in something or wanting to see the growth of something, how they give to it. And oftentimes, let's say you have a girl you're interested in, you're dating, or your actual woman, or your wife, or anything like that, or any woman that you even may be pursuing. Have you ever been in a situation where you helped them? They may have had needed a bill paid, or car needs repair, or anything like that. These are just examples. And you reached out and helped them, not because you had to, not because they asked you, because you roll with those people like that. And when you feel you have the means to help someone, you chose to do that. But isn't it quite interesting that the more you help someone, or even if you just assisted someone, that it can make things go left? it can bring on tonight's word of resentment. Again, resentment is an involuntary debt. So the recipient may feel they are now in a psychological debt. Oh, man. So here's an example. There is a movie called Bronx Tale. Great movie. And I remember a scene in the movie where I think the young man's name was Cordulo. Well, Cordulo saw this guy always avoiding him, purposely avoiding him over the $20 that he borrowed. Well, one day Cordial was walking with the big dog, I want to say. I can't think of all the mafioso language right now, but his boss, let's just say. Cordial was walking with his boss. And his boss said to him, that guy that keeps avoiding you, that does not want to pay you back, stop chasing after him. Look at it this way. You paid $20 to not have to deal with a person like that again, that you can't trust anyway. So that's not verbatim, but that's what he was talking about in that situation. And so I bring that up because that is what you can identify as an involuntary debt. It causes discomfort from the person that you borrowed money to, the person that you did a favor for. Have you ever experienced that? Go ahead and leave that in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are on how borrowing some money or doing something for somebody in the love and honor of friendship, or in the love of honor of professionalship, makes the relationship go left, and due to resentment. Resentment, again, can be perceived as condescension. The help might make the receiver feel incompetent. You might make the person feel dumb because you had to give them the answers to the question. Perhaps resentment in this means is, have you ever been around a person, a student, or anybody that refused to ask a question because they didn't want to feel a certain way? They didn't want to feel incompetent. They didn't want to feel silly or dumb, using these words to a degree. So instead of finding the answer to something, they just went ahead to go off and did what they thought. And sometimes when you do those type of things or make those type of decisions, it might not turn out well for you because you could have just asked how to do something. I bring that up tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because it's okay to ask if you don't know something. It doesn't belittle you. That's all in your own ego. And your ego is your ops, because you have to come to an empowerment base within self where you can see that your ego is getting out of control and you're the only one that can check yourself. Anytime one can check themselves, that is called growth. And it makes those individuals very strong, and that part is the empowerment. Sometimes when you help somebody, it comes off condescending because the person that you helped might have heard somebody before, helped them previously, and then them people had to go out and tell, oh, I had to help them. I always say that people that have to take cameras or have to tell people about how they helped you really didn't help you from the heart. But what they don't understand is that mind state, that bravado, can bring on resentment to the person that you helped. So now what that creates is a person not wanting to ask for help. Have you ever been in those type of situations? Or know anyone that you could have helped and it went left? Or someone helped you and it went left? Or you just didn't understand the situation at the time? Go ahead and leave that in the comments. This is Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast. Leave that in the comments. So according to the breakdown of this definition, with the help of Google finding the word for us and giving us its definition on it, we want to talk about how to handle the situations when it comes to resentment. When it comes to resentment, there's something that they call the reevaluate. So reevaluate it before you take on thinking in a resentful mind state. Ask if the help was given freely or if you expected something in return. And now when you hear that, that takes one into the dating realm. And I'm sure women have received something from a gentleman that was cool, possibly attractive, possibly helped them, but they wasn't feeling them in a sexual manner or a manner of getting with them and becoming partners or a relationship or whatnot, just friends. So women should be encouraged that before they receive something from another man, or a man even receiving from a woman, to talk about and communicate on what is the expectations of why you're giving it to me. I always share with my kids, I always say, never take things for free all the time. Because a lot of times when things are free, it's because the person giving it away just wants to get rid of it. It might be junk or them or trash or them. And now you take on the burden of accepting it because you're in that dopamine for that moment. But then when you get the product or whatever was given to you, you can't even use it. And now you have to go and trash it or get rid of it or whatnot. Always be open to communicate with one another on your expectations, which is the second word here as we talk about resentment, is open communication. Address the tension directly using I statements to express your feelings without accusing the other person. Maybe they just wanted to help you. But instead of you taking on the resentment and letting it go left or letting y'all fall out over it, don't think that way. Because it's also good to receive help when you need it. So again, the word resentment is also a play upon the ego. But if you do the knowledge to it, you can check that. You can check yourself from being resentful towards someone else that helped you. Unless they're going around bragging about helping you. Then now you know not to deal with those people. But if you are a giver, always give with the intentions of you doing it from your heart. And not with the intentions of I did something for somebody before and now I'm waiting for them to help me one day. That's not pure. And that there can cause friction and resentment. What are you doing these things? You can be acceptant of the help. It says, recognize that you cannot control how others react to your generosity. And it may be necessary to adjust the expectations or the relationship. What is your thoughts on the word resentment tonight, ladies and gentlemen? I love to hear it. So as I stated, this is our cultural studies night. And again, we have such a big, broad culture. You know, we the original people. That we may talk about this one night. We may dive into some of our ancestors. We may bounce around. But definitely we're going to bring you on Sunday and Monday's cultural studies night. We're going to bring you culture, our story, and positivity and upliftment. This is what Coffee Talk Podcast is about. This is our Cultural Variety Podcast show tonight on Monday. And we'd just like to thank you for tuning on into the show. With that being said, I'd like to hit you with the universal peace sign. And until next time, thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast. Peace.